So thank you very much for giving us the time today. We've just gone past the first quarter of 2013. How has the start of the year been for Vpress?
It's always good for us, the first quarter of every year, because it's actually our last financial quarter of our financial year. So we always have a big push. But as it is, as a year and also as a last quarter, for Vpress, we're about 40% up on last year. So growth is exactly where we need it to be, and doesn't look like it's going to be stopping.
Is this a surprise to you, or is this more or less expected for this time of year?
It's difficult to answer that without sounding arrogant. I don't think it's a surprise because we put a lot of structure in place last year to ensure that we met the targets that we set for ourselves. But I think if I take Vpress out of the equation, is 40% growth within the web-to-print market expected? Yeah, I believe it is. I think that a lot of people have realised now that web-to-print is now something of a necessity for a print company or an agency that's maybe governing customers and brand. And it's now as important as it was a few years ago when email came in and took over from the age-old fax and traditional means that you received work. And at those times when there were customers out there that hadn't got email to receive work, they were disadvantaged against those that were receiving work in from email. And web-to-print's taking a very similar vein. I guess if you don't have a letterbox, you're not going to get letters. So yeah, certainly looking at the surveys across the globe that have been done, there's been quite a few recently, indications are that not only is this a necessity to a business, but it's also becoming something that's actually changing the way that printers are actually managing some of their more repetitive client orders.
Just very quickly explain a bit about your technology and your customers that you serve.
Technology fits into the bracket that everybody has now termed web-to-print, albeit I don't actually know what web-to-print is anymore. I think it's much bigger than that. It's effectively a way of serving out branded and non-branded products on the internet for clients from any walk of life to interact with, proof of and order. Some of those are print, some of them are non-print related, some of them are variable, some of them are stock related. So what type of client we serve out at the moment is very, very difficult to define. But we as a business live in probably 4 business sectors. We work obviously principally in the print sector, but around the outside of the print sector are providers who we also manage. And they sit within both large to small print managers, large to small office stationers, and also facilities companies. So these are tending to serve large print contracts or regular print contracts into the print sector. So we kind of sit as a hub between a lot of the people. We have no bias on where things are printed or what they're printed on. That's very much governed by the client.
You just mentioned the changes in the term web-to-print. How are your customers' needs evolving, and what are you doing to meet those needs?
I think there's a maturing both of our customers and our customers' customers. Some of our customers have now acknowledged that web-to-print is part of the psyche of a printer now. But I think that some of those that maybe have decided to not acknowledge that are now being pushed by their clients, who are now looking to drive revenue either via savings, ordering via the internet, or alternatively are now insisting because they're now needing a more integrated system. So we're having things like local councils and larger businesses, even sometimes smaller businesses, that are insisting on web-to-print because it cuts an enormous amount of great costs out of their business. And it allows us also to integrate any transactional information straight into their systems, which does a couple of things. First of all, it saves money on a lot of manual processes, but it also locks the two together. So printers like it because the clients aren't necessarily locked in, but there's definitely there's more cohesion between the two of them. There are an enormous amount of other benefits to it, but that I would suggest is one of the areas that we're certainly seeing some growth in.
IPEX 2014 will be combining print and digital marketing. Do you think this is a good step for the industry?
I think it has to. They're inextricably linked. I've never seen them as two separate areas, even though their technologies are vastly different. I think that as a print company, if you're providing both digital and traditional litho or other traditional printing processes, they should be seen as part of your arsenal. So why would the largest print show in the UK decide to treat them as separate entities? I think it's a necessity that they bring them together, and all peripheral technologies that affect it, because unfortunately nothing lives in isolation anymore.
Is your technology being used by those customers which aren't involved in printing?
Yes.
How are they using it?
We have some investments in Webtoprint are actually driven by companies that aren't print. They may be a company that need to have online ordering put in place, and in partnership with a print company, they'll actually insist that Webtoprint is a platform that they would use. But we're also using it for non-print related items. I mean, effectively, a Webtoprint system is an e-commerce platform. It's an area on the internet that allows a client to come in, browse, select, amend if required, a product and order it. It doesn't matter whether that product's a hat stand or a piece of print. It doesn't matter if it's a personalised car. It really doesn't matter. Effectively, it's an e-commerce platform that allows you to facilitate the sale of goods.
Okay. Excellent, thank you very much.